Simon, that was superb, and what a brilliant sort of segue into Janet's talk about the sustainability playbook. You should be in the chair's seat, my friend. I'll hand over to Janet immediately.
Lovely, Kerry, thank you very much. And Simon, yes, that was really interesting. Thank you very much. So, Sasha, thank you so much for doing the slides. I really appreciate that. Could we move on to the next slide? So you'll notice that there are QR codes dotted throughout the presentation. There's also, if you scroll up through the chat, a link to the playbook if the QR code isn't working for you. So, and of course, you can just Google NPA, No Planet V Sustainability Playbook. So why do we need a playbook? Many of the other speakers have alluded to some of the challenges, but I will just touch on some of these statistics. So infrastructure, including construction of infrastructure, accounts for 79% of global emissions, 88% of adaptation costs, and 62% of the UK's total waste. And the pipeline for investment is 650 billion. So the scope for doing something about this, for doing things differently, really is huge. And there's massive and really exciting potential to do things differently. So infrastructure obviously provides socio-economic services, and they will provide and create the world that we want. But we have to take a step change in how we're delivering our infrastructure. Anyone who's been in the industry for any period of time will know that scope, cost, risk and time feel hard enough, borderline impossible at times. So to add another 4 priorities feels like a bit of a stretch. Nonetheless, this is the reality that we have to deal with. So over and above those original priorities, we have to be considering biodiversity and nature, carbon and environment, resilience and adaptation, and social value. These are non-negotiable, and people get them mixed up. So one of the ambitions in the playbook was to just lay these things out really simply as a checklist for people. And we as project professionals, it's us. We are going to be helping to disperse that 650 billion. We are going to be the people who are in those meeting rooms writing the reports and saying, have you thought about biodiversity? Have you thought about carbon? Have you thought about the resilience, the adaptation? So the playbook is a tool designed to support all of us through this journey, because many of us will be experts in our fields, but we can't all be experts in everything. So it enables us to work together. Next slide, please. So Susie mentioned at the top of the call the genesis of this. This was about a year ago. We had an in-person event at KPMG's offices. And we had almost 100 people from across industry. And one of the later slides, we acknowledge all of the organisations who contributed input on the day. So what we did, we decided that there were arguably 5 life cycle stages: define, procure, design, deliver, operate. You might want to put those in slightly different order. You might want to say there's 4, there's 6, but broadly, let's just sort of land on those 5 stages. We decided to stick with those 8 priorities that I've mentioned just now. So not only the scope, cost, risk, time, but also biodiversity and nature, carbon and the environment, resilience and adaptation, and social value. And then for simplicity's sake, we landed on 8 project roles. Of course, there are many, many more roles in projects, but we just tried to land on 8 sort of exemplar project roles so that people could see perhaps which correlated best to the work that they were doing. And overlaying all of that, we identified 6 focus areas. We loosely based them on the 5 business case model, but we sort of front-end loaded it with future operating environment, because we know that that's going to change. We have to adapt to the new norms, and we have to be resilient to the new extremes. So understanding that PESTLE, doing that PESTLE analysis, understanding what is coming is absolutely critical. There is no point designing projects for 30, 50 years hence if we're not basing it on what we know is coming. We also put a focus on benefits and outcomes. I'm sure many of you are deep project professionals, so I won't labour those and the difference with the next priority focus area, which is outputs. And very often we get a bit too focused on those outputs and not enough focused on those benefits and outcomes. Then funding and financing, commercial and management. So very familiar to you if you've been using the 5-case business case. So we took those frameworks, and then we had on the 16th of April 2024 this day-long event where so many people turned up, and we're so delighted and grateful for everybody's input. We did quite a complex series of working groups, and we moved around the building and heard from experts from across sectors and with different backgrounds. And from that crowdsourcing event, we put together the sustainability playbook, including the roadmap. Next slide, please. So just as a very quick overview, the playbook includes at the top the sustainability roadmap, and that is an illustrative guide. Then it also provides step-by-step instructions for each of the project phases, the 5 project phases. And then the bottom little mini slide there is the appendix full of the links. And these were links that people on the day suggested to us, and these were steps that people on the day suggested to us. And I will reiterate this at the end, but I will also say now, this is unlikely to have achieved 110% perfection, or indeed 100% perfection. We really are interested in people inputting, in challenging, in saying, actually, I think you've missed something really important, or there's a document here which needs to be added. The world's changing all the time. And, you know, who would have thought 3 months ago that we would be where we are now? So we need to keep this updated. We will be doing another version, and all input is really, really appreciated. So just to get a bit deeper into those slides and the playbook itself, next slide, please, Sasha. So Sasha kindly shared with me just before the event what people have been saying. So we know that about 55% of people hadn't yet heard of the playbook, 40% are aware of it, haven't used it, and 5% have used it. So I'm really keen that at the end of this, you'll be more interested in moving groups, either hearing about it now for the first time or moving into using it. So as I say, there's the 5 project phases. So we've got bottom left, define, procure, design, deliver, operate. And then the speech bubbles are colour matched to those. And, you know, they just pick out some of the activities that you would need to consider during one of these phases. So if we start in the middle with design, consider the wider interfaces and dependencies beyond your project boundaries. Just zoom out and take that systemic view. Prioritise holistic decision making. Regularly review consents, constraints and assumptions around the future operating environment, and design output to deliver sustainability benefits and assess their alignment with sustainability strategy. So that's the roadmap. And if we go to the next slide, this is where we endeavoured to bring those 5 stages of the project and merge them. At the bottom, you'll see those 8 roles. So there's the operator, the sponsor or client lead, the funding lead, the PMO lead, the design lead, the consents lead, the commercial lead, and the delivery lead. So again, just to pick some of these boxes out, if you look in the far left column of define, so right at the beginning, when we all know that time spent here brings huge benefits. If I start with the second box down, the operator and the sponsor should be thinking about the PESEL, thinking about that future operating environment, defining it, and driving and developing that sustainability strategy to make sure it's embedded within the overall delivery strategy. And building the desired sustainability benefits and outcomes into those delivery models, proactively considering those additional benefits, those co-benefits that you might identify, and make sure it's all captured in the business case. Scope your outputs to deliver those goals, outcomes, and benefits. Some of this, if you've done, as I'm sure many of you have, APM or Prince2 or MSP, you might think, oh, actually, this is all pretty clear in those documents. And it is. It is. This document is simply emphasising the need to make sure that sustainability is front and centre at every stage, for every role, at every decision. Next slide, please. So this is where you get into the detail. So this is one table spread across 2 slides. And for each of those 5 stages, they've each got one of these tables. So if you are, for example, looking at benefits and outcomes, then what you want are for your project strategies and your requirements to be clearly defined and met across, including the expectations of users, of stakeholders, across all 8 priorities. So this isn't simply thinking about the function of the project. This is also thinking about what nature outcomes do we need for this? If UK is going to meet 30 by 30, if we are going to regenerate the depleted nature that we have, what will it take? And think about that right at the outset with benefits and outcomes. Think about what assets you've already got. And perhaps the answer is build nothing. Perhaps the answer is refurb. Perhaps the answer is demand management and don't build anything at all. And then really take that systemic view, zooming out and thinking about the interfaces and dependencies with other assets, other networks, other stakeholders. And I realise that this is making it ostensibly a little bit more complex at the beginning. But we all know that major projects get stuck sometimes in quagmires of complexity down the line. So thinking about it early doors is a way to manage that complexity. Next slide, please. So this is the second half to the table, the funding and the financing, the commercial and management, that all those PMO arrangements. Next slide, please. And then these are some of the useful links. I think knowledge management, if we only knew what we knew, is really critical. And I was delighted, Andy yesterday mentioned about the MPA creating a large language model to help with knowledge management. This is the direction we need to go in. We need to start identifying which are really key bits of guidance, because I'm now at the point in my career where I'm seeing guidance being reinvented and we don't have the time. So in the appendices, there are all of these links for key documents. It won't be comprehensive. You will have good ideas. You will know what we're missing. Tell us. Next slide, please. And again, that's the second half of that table. So what's the ask around this playbook? We're really keen and really delighted. There are so many people on this call. So many people got involved last year to create this. Lead by example, become an agent for change. If you just raise it in a meeting, you may well find that that's the tipping point and other people will chip in. So be that person, put it on the meeting agenda, put it in the report, ask the question. I can guarantee nobody is doing this perfectly. I've yet to find any organisation that has got this nailed, that's truly been clear about what they want, that they've passed that down through all of their contract requirements, that they're collecting the right data, they're reporting that data, and they're using that for decision making and to steer the ship differently. Nobody's at that level of maturity yet, but that's fine. Just work, understand that maturity has to develop, just start somewhere. Next slide, thank you. So collaborate and communicate. Work on ideas exchange. Think about the solutions holistically, in addition to the normal project outputs. Think about what those solutions could be in terms of biodiversity, in terms of nature, in terms of air quality, in terms of health. If you're including active travel, you're improving health outcomes. If you're reducing ICE vehicle exhausts, you're improving health outcomes. And if you're reducing EVs, you're reducing tire particulate matter, you're improving health outcomes. So think about things holistically. Bring together diverse perspectives. People will surprise you and it will be great. Next, thank you. Stay resilient and adaptable. This is not an easy field to be in, as I know many of you will, it will resonate with many of you. But progress rather than perfection is the name of the game here. And incremental change is good enough. Next slide. Please do help us to improve and promote the playbook. Share it with people. It is free to access on the MPA website. and do raise challenges with it, raise suggestions for improvement, how we can connect other documents we could link, get involved. You know, this was originally crowdsourced, and we're hoping that the next version will be as well. So there's the QR code, but if we could just go to the next slide, Sasha. Thank you. I'd really like to just dwell on this a moment. So it was a year ago, we got everybody into the room, and this is the list of organisations that were involved, who contributed, who all had a part to play and should be taking some of the credit for this playbook. So with that, I'll just say thank you very much.
Brilliant, thank you, Janet. I quite like the idea of incremental change is good enough as well, because I think some of this stuff feels like it's such a mountain to climb, and we think we've got to solve it all tomorrow, and actually just small but steady hopefully will win the race.